All right, well, hey, welcome to Healing Pastures. My name is Mark Shepard, and every week I like to kind of go back through the videos of the week and find out what's the theme, what am I learning, what metaphors can we come up with for our spiritual growth, the growth of our spirits. And this week, one of the main jobs was to get the 3 young boars out of their training pen, which they were starting to stink. And that's against everything that I'm about. So my friend Josh helped me, and we made a lane down to this new area for them, which is totally a jungle. And it's filled with things they like thistle. They love thistle root and burdock, and there's grass in there and some young trees and all kinds of stuff is growing out. And so they were actually fairly quick to cross out of their pen into the woods, thanks to some beautiful wood nettle that they were finding delicious. And they're right behind me here. And now they're exploring the lane that's leading them to the jungle, which is farther back behind me. So the theme this week for the Sunday message is changing habits, breaking boundaries, moving into new areas, moving out of your comfort zone. And how do you make a change? And my system, that what works for me is I give myself some kind of positive motivation in the direction I want to go. And then I leave the door open. So if I change my mind or discover it's not really what I want, then I can go back, right? But once I'm out in my discomfort zone, all of a sudden, oh, you know what? I don't have to go back. And then I close off the exit. So I got them into the forest, out of their beat up training pen. And then as they went out and discovered that it was pretty cool out there, I just closed the gate, right? So they can't go back. And I seeded it. And now they're making the lane something they're familiar with. So they're becoming familiar in the new area. And then I will close them out of this area once I get them into the final area that I want. And I will probably keep this lane up since it's convenient to move them between the upper pasture and what I call the lower pasture, which is really the upper jungle versus the lower jungle. So in your life this week, I want you to think about anything new that you're trying to do, and any new habit that you're trying to install, or any old habit you're trying to break, and realize that, hey, you're an animal too. How can you use positive rewards to get you to do the thing you think you want to do? And how can you be gentle with yourself in that process, but not enable yourself, right? Not be an enabler for yourself, right? So like if you're trying to stop drinking, you know, if you have 12 beers every night, well, going cold turkey is probably not the way. But if you dialed it down to 9 beers, and then a couple days later or a week later, dial it down to 8 beers, and down to 5 beers, and then down to 3, you know, you can actually make a significant reduction in the amount of beer you drink, which would have so many positive effects. But you have to want to, right? It has to be something you want. And what is it that's better, right? You have to have something to replace it with. So these guys, they had a stinky pen. So it was way better going out of that pen, right? There's so much to smell, so much to taste, delicious. But then they could go back. I let them go back into the pen for a couple of times so that they were reassured. Okay, yeah, this is familiar. And then once they were out of the pen again, I closed them off. So this lane, there's plenty to keep them occupied probably here for a week. But eventually they're going to discover there's a huge jungle, and it's pig paradise, you know, and that's where they're going to spend the rest of the summer. But I'm not in a hurry. And that's the other thing. You don't want to be in a hurry. particularly with pigs, but maybe even with yourself. And it looks like I need a haircut. Jeez, my hair is all over the place. Yeah, but at least I have some. So, oh, look at this. They are already rooting. And what are they rooting up? Roots. And their gift for the hemlock trees will be to leave some fertilization. Yeah. So in the process of changing habits and daring to do something new, daring to push your comfort zone, first of all, be gentle with yourself and realize it's not always easy, and that's okay. Sometimes we need to do stuff that's not easy. Sometimes we need to do stuff that's hard, that engages our full being, that we have to commit to 100%. And if we don't commit to 100%, well, why not? Like, what's stopping you? That comfort zone is so addictive. It really is. Yeah, with farming, I am constantly pulled out of my comfort zone. There's constantly something new that I have to deal with that I didn't think I'd have to deal with, or didn't know I would have to deal with. And it's extremely uncomfortable, extremely challenging, extremely difficult. And yet it's a full engagement of my being. So that might be the Sunday message, or at least what I'm working towards. Who's been rooting? Have you been rooting? Huh? How you doing? Want a fist bump? You guys want to go a little farther? You want to go a little farther? Huh? It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's like a boy. It's like a boy. They're still wary. Very wary. Nice long torso these boys have. And so they've headed to a new area, and now they're gonna kind of work their way back. What a lovely day. What a lovely, lovely day it is. And we needed one. I found this wet spot here. Oh yeah. Root right in there. Oh, what are you eating? What's so good? What's so delicious in the sun-dappled clearing? You seem to like the wood vines and the grape vines. Virginia creeper. Oh man, plowing it up. Look at that nose. Look at that. Look at that plow. Oh my gosh, there's so much to eat if you're a pig. We'll probably make a wallow there. That would be okay. So I'm here in the upper pasture right in front of the training pen. And this week we're talking about breaking boundaries, letting go of old habits, and installing new habits, pushing past our discomfort zone into a new comfort zone, leaving the old comfort zone behind, and beginning something that might be uncomfortable. And I, for some ridiculous reason, I can't just be a musician, and I can't just be a farmer, and I can't just be a minister in the universal spiritual kind of realm. I have to do all three. And so I am constantly being pulled or pushed or nudged out of my comfort zone. And sometimes it gets exhausting and you need to take a break, you know. But one of the joys of this adventure I'm on is that you can begin to see things come to fruition, literally fruition, fruiting. I planted raspberries 3 years ago, and I am now harvesting a quart of raspberries every day, which is one more thing I have to do. So on the one hand, it's riches and abundance, and on the other hand, it's like, okay, what else do I have to give up that is in my comfort zone so that I can do what needs to get done when it needs to get done? And that's my spiritual path. That's the path with heart. That's the, let's figure this out. Let's begin. Let's follow the call. Let's do what we're here to do. And it's not always easy, but I think saying no to that call is even harder. So this week we're talking about breaking habits, leaving the comfort zone, pushing out into the discomfort zone where you feel vulnerable. These pigs are a good example of when they're in a new area, they feel vulnerable because they don't know the lay of the land yet. So they constantly push forward a little, and then they go back to where they're comfortable and familiar, and then they'll push back out, and then they'll go back. So that's the whole process of being gentle to yourself, with yourself. And again, these messages are as much for me as they are for anybody out there who might find them. But the reality is we get trapped by our habits. We get trapped by the things that we do every single day at exactly the same time in exactly the same way. And it's comforting to have those habits, and sometimes it's the most efficient use of your time and energy, so you don't have to constantly reinvent the wheel, so to speak. But it can also be a trap, and it traps our attention, and it keeps us stuck in limited areas. And the classic motivational speaker example is there was a leopard or a tiger or a lion or some large carnivore cat that was in a zoo in a small cage, and it paced back and forth all its life, and they finally raised enough money to build this beautiful outdoor enclosure, and they let the animal out of the cage, and it continued to pace in exactly the same area that it had paced all its life, all its captive life. And we are very much like that as well. It just isn't so obvious. So in your life, where are you being trapped by your comfort zone? Are there areas where you could push past? Are there areas that are kind of calling to you and you're kind of hesitant to go? I've always considered what I'm on to be the hesitant journey. In fact, my second album was called The Hesitant Journey, because I felt like I was called by spirit, but the form that I was familiar with was too small for me. It didn't feel right anymore. And so for 40 years, I've been attempting to honor this music, to get it out into the world somehow, which I have been not that successful at, but to let go of what we think should happen, to let go of the attachment to the outcome, because you don't know what you're going to discover once you cross that boundary, once you dare to leave your comfort zone into the discomfort zone. Look around in there, look around in the new area. You can always go back, but what's it like in the new area? And what would motivate you? What would cement your new area? What would cause you to feel more comfortable there, right? And basically just being there, going ahead and doing it. Like every species that I have started with, I started first with pigs, and then with sheep, and then with cows. There's so much that was not comfortable. So much I didn't know, so much I didn't understand, and that's still the case. And yet I had to do it. I set it up so I talked about doing it to people, and then I had to go, well, I can't just be talking about it. I can't be that guy that's like, someday I'm going to start a farm. No, it's like, okay, someday I'm going to start a farm, and boom, I've started it. Someday I'm going to start a church, and boom, I've started it. Someday I'm going to find a way to record all my songs and get them out into the world. And I've spent the last 5 years learning how to record both audio and video so that I can do that. And now I'm frustrated because I'm so busy on the farm and the weather's so good that getting back into the studio has been a challenge. So I have to use my time better. That's a discomfort zone. And now I have to pick raspberries every day. Do you know what I mean? Every step of the way, we are faced with choices. We are faced with areas that we are uncomfortable with. And last weekend I spoke at the Brick Chapel, and I felt very uncomfortable doing the churchy part of it. I was okay doing a song. I was okay. I played 2 different hymns instead of my own songs. That was uncomfortable, and I had to practice those songs twice a day for the whole week to be able to pull it off, and I messed them up. I messed up my own song, Together We Could Change the World. I absolutely messed up the first verse because I was nervous. I was uncomfortable in a churchy setting because I'm the guy that talks about spiritual but not religious, right? So I typed out my sermon, and of course, halfway through it, I couldn't stick with the text, and I just went free association, which is what I do. So, and they agreed to set a date of September 9th to do a potluck supper, and so that I can do a program that I want to do. And we're integrating it into the Cornell Extension Open Farm Weekend. So hopefully we can invite other farmers to come, and I am extremely uncomfortable with putting it out there in the world. A friend of mine has already kind of teased me and said, you know, you're starting a cult, right? And I don't want that. I don't want to start a cult. It's not what I'm interested in. I'm not about that. I want a place where I can do my music, where I can talk about spirituality with other people who are wondering and exploring their spirituality. And I want to eat the kind of food that I grow, and I want to get to know other people and support other people who are daring to grow their own food. It's a movement, people, but it's not a cult, right? And it certainly is not my intention to create a cult of personality. I just want my music to be heard. Like, it's that simple. I want my music to be heard. It's my life work, and it chose me to be the vehicle through which these ideas and musical refrains come. So yeah. So it's time to send out some prayers. So this week, sending out prayers to those who are afraid to change what they know they need to change in their life. This week, sending out prayers to those who may be going, you know what, I think I might be an alcoholic. Or, you know what, I might be addicted to sugar. Or I might be addicted to TikTok, whatever. There are ways to let go of those old patterns while being gentle with yourself. But the bottom line is you have to give yourself something desirable and meaningful to move towards. And you have to also stack all the reasons to let go and leave behind the things that are causing you pain, right? So we need to associate pain and discomfort with the old pattern, and pleasure and comfort and excitement and curiosity and all the positive, attractive things that you can possibly imagine out in front of you, so that you can move from the old to the new. Behold, the old has passed away. Behold, the new has come. This week, be new, people. Be new. Who knew? It felt so good to be new. Be you, be new. Who knew? That's what happens in my mind. I might have to go pick up a guitar. I don't know. Anyway, peace, love, and grooviness. Amen.
It's the key to your cage. It's the steps to your stage. It's the jewel of your rage in the war we all wage. It's the wind in your sail. It's the win in your fail. The card that gets you out of jail. It's the steel in your rail. It's the key to your cage. It's the key to your cage. It's the key to your cage. It's the word on the street. It's the gift of a thief. It's your sigh of relief at your brand new belief. It's the road out of town. It's the loft in your down. It's the sound of the sound of your feet on the ground. It's the key to your cage. It's the key to your cage. It's the key to your cage. Wisdom of pain, the note the bottle contains. It's your skin in the game, while the rest just complain. It's the breath of a breeze in the tops of the trees. It's the moment you seize to secure your release. It's the key to your cage. 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 It's the key to your, it's the key to your, it's the key to your cage.
So the boys are still enamored. Hey guys, hi. Please don't come and hug me. I don't want a hug. You are muddy. So they have been absolutely enjoying this muddy spot. We have an artesian well and it overflows constantly. Let me get, so the sun is behind me. It overflows and it runs down the hill to this point. And the pigs absolutely found it. And we've got a couple of places like that, which is really, they love getting wet and muddy because they can't sweat. But it also probably helps them, help soothe their skin And yeah. All right. Let's see if they'll follow me a little farther here. Now that they've had a wallow. Let's see if they'll come. Oh, they're coming. What do you think, guys? Come on out here. There's a lot of shade in here as well as a lot of sun, so let's see what they do. Yeah, you want to follow me? You can keep following me. I just want them to know what they can access. Because this, to me, is such a gift to these pigs. It's such a paradise. Most pigs are raised in a factory on a concrete floor. And even pigs that are raised outside are often raised in one pen, one small pen, forever. And once again, they have stopped because they found something good. And I think, let's see if they just go dive in to the jungle. Well, see it? No, they're gonna head back now. They're gonna head back to the last area they were comfortable with. So they made another new incursion, another new step. So I think that's the perfect metaphor this week. Move a little bit towards where you want to go, then go back, then move ahead again, then go back a little less far this time, go forward a little more, go back a little more, a little forward, back, 2 steps forward, 1 foot back, 1 step back, and pretty soon you're in an entirely new landscape. Cowabunga Shazam. Peace, love, and grooviness, people. Amen.